Okay, so here's the spoilery part, and if you're not looking for spoilers of the Hunger Games, I'm telling you to turn this video off right now. Now, here's my caveat from the get-go of my review of the movie. I am a big fan of movies that are based on books. I know and I understand that books, when they are turned into movies, they cannot put every single detail of a book into a movie. It just can't happen. I mean, John Green from the Vlogbrothers talks about this a lot with screenplay adaptations that are being made of all of his books and how you just can't make them exactly how they are in the books. And some readers are going to be disappointed, and that's just how it goes. I'm okay with that, just to put that up front. I enjoyed the casting. It was fantastic. I know at first people weren't really happy with who was being cast, but they really stepped up. Jennifer Lawrence really, she played very well to how Katniss is mature, yet she has this kind of not really trusting anybody and immaturity as well. I love Josh Hutcherson and how he really shows that he loves Katniss from the beginning, but also he shows that he's strong. I loved Stanley Tucci as playing Caesar Flickerman. It was just such perfect casting. I don't know how that man does it, but any role he is cast in, he can change himself into so many things. I mean, seriously, he played a serial killer in The Lovely Bones. So these were the things that I really enjoyed that were changes. I like the fact that because it wasn't being told from Katniss's point of view, because it wasn't being told in the first-person narrative, that you got to see the Game Maker's control room, you got to see some things that were not where she was. You get to see that it's a reality show for the Capitol, while for the districts that it's not. And I love that the plot line moved. I love that it moved a lot and I didn't feel that it really dragged. It was the same in the book. Now, there were things that I really didn't enjoy, especially since I had read the books beforehand. But going to see it with my husband, who had not read any of the books, it was really easy to see that some things just got lost on him when, for time's sake or for trying to tell a better story, they cut it out, and it seems like they cut too much. And some things are just little things they could have put in. Like, for example, when Rue put the leaves on Katniss to help to take out the Tracker Jacker sting and the poison that goes along with it. She says, I changed the leaves, but doesn't explain that the leaves are what is going to take out the sting and the poison. My husband had to lean over and say, well, why did she have leaves on her? I've seen mixed reviews of this online, but I think they should have shown the eyes of the people in the jackal. And it would have been really easy to kind of look in their eyes and have a moment of looking in recognition in Katniss and Peeta's eyes to see that they were the tributes that had already been killed. It would have had that extra moment of, oh my gosh, fear. And one more small thing they could have put at the end is when they're told that now there's no longer allowed to be two winners but only one, Katniss lifts her bow up like she's gonna kill him, because the whole time she's not quite sure. It's told from first-person narrative, she's not sure about whether or not Peeta's out there to kill her, or if he's just pretending, or what's going on, because half the time she doesn't know she's pretending. So she lifts her bow because he has a knife in his hand. There are, of course, bigger things that I wish they had included in the movie that they didn't, but that were included in the book. I don't like that they had the Mockingjay pin come from just a place in the Hob. A, they didn't include what the Hob was, and B, it really didn't seem to have a significance, whereas in the book, it comes from Madge, and the whole, a little explanation about why Madge is giving it to her sets up the idea that there's a bit of rebellion already starting in the districts even before the Hunger Games begins. Explain what the Tesseract was. It would have been a perfect reason to explain why Gale has his name in there 43 times. My husband was so confused because if you only have to be with your name in the bowl between ages 12 and 18, how the heck do you get your name in there 43 times? That's a bit of weird aging. I could go on a whole tyrant with the Gale and Katniss story not being told really well at the beginning because it plays out so much more in the other books, but that's for another movie which comes out in another year, so we'll leave it at that. Hello, Peeta's leg gets chopped off! I know it's only in the afterword in the first book, but it's a big deal! My final squabble with this movie was the Haymitch character. I think Woody Harrelson was a great, let me get that out there, great casting for this role, despite the fact that he doesn't fit the description that Suzanne Collins gives. The fact that they don't make him as drunk as they could in the beginning, you know, falling off the stage, throwing up on the train, and all of those things, it just kind of defeats the whole idea. But when Peeta and Katniss show that they're willing to fight and they're not going to just lay down and die, that's when Haymitch agrees to sober up enough that he's going to help them to fight. And if they leave him alone and let him drink a little bit, then he'll help them out. And that's how it works. And I don't like the fact that they downplay the relationship he had with Katniss. Doesn't give her the little floaty parachute things from sponsors because she's near the things that she's asking for, like water in the beginning. And if she does the right thing to get a sponsor to like her, then she gets what she needs, like when she actually kisses Peeta. So those are the things I didn't like. But remember, like I said, I understand when there's movie adaptations, but the first time I saw it at the midnight showing, I saw it with friends of mine who didn't read the books. They said they were, oh, I'll read the books, but they didn't. And so there were parts where I was like, because there were such things that they could have just done better, and I wish that it would have made it such a better movie for everyone instead of people asking me questions. You know, when some of the things are, what did it mean by that? It makes it a harder movie for me, and I think it makes it a harder movie for somebody else. And therefore, unless they are enticed to want to go read the books, they may not want to go see the second movie, because the ending, even with President Snow walking up the stairs, I'm intrigued because I'm wondering how they're going to fix the second movie to fit in some of the things that they didn't do in this first one. But my husband's not so much interested. He's like, they got home. What else is going to happen? So that's my review, but hopefully you didn't watch this if you weren't looking for spoilers, because this was all spoilerific. Bye, everybody.